Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Mountaineer Postgame Show. I'm Schuyler, Callihan. That's Eugene. Napoleon, West Virginia, falling to TCU 23-17 on Saturday night in the Coal Rush game. A look here at the numbers. Scotty Fox Jr. in his second straight start had a huge day through the air. 301 yards, 2 touchdowns, completing 28 of his 41 passes. Just looked like a completely different quarterback. We'll talk about that performance and why. We don't want to get too ahead of things here with Scotty, but nonetheless, an impressive performance from him. Cam Vaughn gets back in the mix with 6 catches and 85 yards. And Josh Hoover, it sounds weird to say limited to 247 yards because that's still a pretty chunky number for most quarterbacks, but for him in this offense, that's pretty darn good. West Virginia was able to kind of hang around defensively, get enough stops to keep this offense in the game, but ultimately just felt a little bit too shy. Gene, obviously, from that the second half on, it kind of felt like maybe in the first few minutes of the second half, TCU was going to be able to bust this thing open. They credit West Virginia. They just continued to fight, find ways to either get stops on fourth down or pick up first downs on offense and actually score it. And then it comes down to the end there, final play. You have an opportunity for an onside kick, and it looked like they had a really good chance of recovering it, and then it just goes right into the TCU's guy's hand who's able to pounce on it. Then you get to the the third down call, and they get the first down. The ball pops loose. Looks like West Virginia's got a great opportunity again to pounce on it, but it hops right up into the TCU receiver's hands, and that's all she wrote. So just a tough day for it to end, but I think there's a lot of encouraging signs that we saw in this one.
I'm gonna tell you something. I was inspired by the way West Virginia played. I thought that we played much better. I felt like it was inspired football and the effort was there. The last few games you kind of watched, we really didn't put forth great effort. And I think that was the problem that Rich was having when the staff was having a little bit just frustrating because you know that they can perform better than that. You know that you can put out, a better quality of ball. And tonight, I think they did just that. Came up short, came up a little short. But I'm going to tell you something. I was more inspired with tonight than what I've seen in the last 3 weeks from our ball club. And I'm really excited about the future of what Scotty Fox has. I mean, he played very well. He got some help. The offensive line played better, much better than they have played. It's still a long way to go, but what we see now moving forward, hopefully they can continue on that trajectory, clean some things up, right? And look, it's a rough season, but tonight they look better tonight than they had in the last 3 weeks.
They certainly did. And you talked about the offensive line. They did make a couple of changes, which we hinted at in the preview. Malik Agbo got the start at right tackle. Donovan Haslam got the start at left guard. And I wouldn't say it was a picture perfect product for both of them, but there were some moments, I think, and there was more moments of positivity from that group at those two spots, but in particular, than there was really in the first 7 games of the season. So there's something to build on there. But you talked about Scotty Fox also. Look, I don't want to jump the gun because I think we all get too excited. The first time we see a quarterback make a big play, whether it's through the air or with his legs, we're like, that's the guy. He's going to be the future. That he's the guy that's going to get this thing turned around. Remember, we were saying a lot of great things about Khalil Wilkins, and it was warranted because it was his first road start at BYU. It was a tough environment. It was a short week. He had to overcome a lot, and
Sure.
he didn't look overwhelmed. But there were certain things that kind of restricted the offense, and that was his ability to throw the ball consistently. Scotty Fox doesn't have that issue. And that's something we've hit on a few times now, that he's probably has the highest ceiling of anybody in that group just because he can throw the football. He's got a really quick release. And it's just a matter of the game slowing down for him. Tonight, it
Right.
looked like it was slowed down, but I'll say this. I hate to be that guy, but TCU's pass defense, we mentioned it on the pregame show, 110th or 108th, one of those two, worse than West Virginia in pass defense, 110th nationally. So they did what you should have done, but now we need to see Scotty go out and do it against a better defense next week at Houston If he does some impressive things there, now you've got something.
No, I agree with you. But here's the thing. It still looks good to do it in a live game. It still looks good to make those high pressure throws. It still looks good to convert third and whatever, third and long, third and short, third
Builds
and medium.
confidence.
It builds your confidence. And I'm gonna tell you something. He got whacked around tonight. He
Oh,
got whacked around,
you see
but
that big
it
old
showed.
brace out on his leg?
My goodness, yeah. But it shows his mental toughness and his ability to bounce back. And you know what it shows? I want this. The burning
Yeah.
desire to, I want this, that it factor. And that's what you need if you're going to be a quarterback at any level, but especially at this level and especially in this Rich Rod's offense.
Gene, I just came across a stat that I just now looked at, and it's mind-boggling to me. TCU finished with 343 total yards. 343. West
Mhm.
Virginia, 342. They were -1 against one of the better offenses in the Big 12. And look, like, folks, this is not like some, average team that they just came up short against. This is a team that's vying for a spot in the Big 12 championship. Now, granted, they've got a lot of work to do, need a little help, but they're still in the thick of things. And they're a really, really good football team. And the fact that you held them to 23 points, I think, says a lot about the way the defense has responded since last week, because last week was just not good enough. I mean, they gave up a ton of explosive plays. They gave up 9 explosive plays tonight, but it just felt like they never quit. They played through the whistle. If you go back, and I don't know if it was the first or second half, that the touch would have been touchdown catch or throw to Eric McAllister, and Derek
Right.
Carter just plays through the whistle and knocks it
Yep.
out, and it's an incompletion instead of a touchdown. That's a huge play right there. There were a couple of those. I think of the fourth down stop where it's 4th and 2, 4th and 3, maybe. Devin Grant just gets his arms up, swats the thing down, playing through the whistle, finishing off plays. I thought they were much better tonight. Again, still a long way to go, but also like the progress on the defense.
Effort. Effort.
Yes.
That's listen, that's what it's all about. If you're gonna make a mistake, I'd rather you make a mistake going 100 miles an hour than make a mistake going 2 miles an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so give me that. Give me effort is personal. It's between you and yourself. Just the effort that it takes to make plays and not look as though you're out there like a deer in headlights. And tonight they looked a lot better, like I said, collectively than they have in the last 3 weeks. And for me, I'll take the progression as long as it's progression and it's moving in the right direction. So I'll take that.
Now, with Scotty, what are you looking for him next week? Because I think we all know how good Houston's defense is, and we'll get into it in depth in the preview next week. But just some early thoughts on what you want to see from him next week against that really good defense that Houston has.
I think to build on the success that you had tonight and go into this thing and really prepare to know that you're going to play against a much better defense. You're going to play against much better, guys that can really cover on the back end, and they get it done, up front as well. But really focus on the details. This week, if I'm him, I'm going to focus on the details. I'm going to make sure that I can continue to slow the game down in my head because he looked really crisp tonight. He really did. He looked
He
really
really,
good.
really did.
So if he can continue to build on that and don't take big chunks of this thing, man, listen, take small pieces of the pie,
Yeah.
small pieces, nibbles. But you're progressing because you're going to play. We're going to say this. You're going to play against a much better defense. But if you keep it balanced and don't try to jump out there and take the whole bite, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
He'll be fine. So they're going to have to keep him tempered. They're going to have to keep him balanced, and I think he'll be just fine.
Was nice to see Cam Vaughn, as I talked about in the open, kind of get hot there for a minute. It's been a while since they've been able to uncork him, and that was the case tonight. He made some contested catches, made plays after the catch, drew a couple of flags. The tight
Yep.
ends. This was probably the best game for the tight end group as a whole. It's been a brutal year for them, not only in the pass game, but also blocking. I thought tonight was much better, more particular in the pass game. All three of the tight ends got involved. And then Dior Hubbard too. Like I know his stats aren't going to pop off the stat sheet at you. I don't even know what he finished with. Let me see here. He finished with 32 yards rushing on 14 carries, so 2.3 yards per rush, but he also had 32 yards on 3 catches. And even though he only had 32 yards rushing, Gene, it felt like there was a couple of times when he got the ball, he was just going to pop one right through one of those seams. It just he never got the crease to truly hit one, but you can see the burst, the speed, it's there. If they can fix that offensive line up front this offseason, I really believe Dior Hubbard could be a strong number two complementary back to Jaheim next year.
What did I say uh, a few days ago? We're going to put college football on notice if Rich can get the recruiting class that he needs
Hmm.
with the compliments of some of the talent that he already has. We're going to put college football on notice. I'm telling you, he will turn this thing around. I'm telling you. So if you look at what you saw tonight, it's a small sample size. I mean, it is. It's a small sample size, Schuyler.
Yeah.
I am telling you, he is going to turn this thing around. And look, that's all I'm saying.
Look, I think you have every right to think that, and I'm with you. Like I think there's just too many people that are down and out right now. Thinking everything's gonna, the sky's gonna fall, and that West Virginia's never gonna get this thing turned around. But the truth of the matter is, this is year one in a lot of places, and you take your licks, you move on. You miss some guys in the portal, and you learn from it. And this year they're better positioned as they've talked about. Now the thing that came out with Pat McAfee on game day doesn't make it probably seem like that, but they're going to be just fine.
Yeah.
And I think when you start to see some of these pieces get better, we've always talked about it too that Rich Rod's teams are much better in November than they are in August and September. So we've
Yes.
got the last month of the season here that we're about to enter. We're going to find out a lot about some of these guys that have years of eligibility remaining. We saw the first start for Donovan Haslam and Malik Agbo tonight. Now, can they build on that and show down the in these final 5 games or 4 or 5 games that they can be starters next year? Can Scotty Fox continue to stack good performances on top of each other to show he can be the quarterback next year? You don't need to go out and get a portal guy. He might go get one anyway, but he's going to tell you, hey, I'm your guy for 2026. That's a
Right.
lot of what we're looking at here in these last few games. Bowl game, obviously going to be tough to get to. You got to win out
Yeah.
from this point on, but you've just got to find some pieces, find some bright spots to build this thing with in the future.
And they will. There's no doubt in my mind they will. Listen, Rome wasn't built in a night. We get it. We understand that. It's a little bit different. I know people may look at, well, so and so is at program X, and they're similar to West Virginia, but program X doesn't run what Rich runs on offense. So it's going to take a minute to get the pieces that you really need, and I think people have to understand that everything it's not a carbon copy. Everything is not,
Created equal.
yeah, it's just not. So once that happens, you will see Rich is a good football coach. And at the end of the day, I'm not shocked that the progression that they made from the last 3 weeks to what we saw tonight. Now, Houston is a good ball club. We know that. These next few games, Arizona State and who was it? Colorado, and then of course
Texas
uh,
Tech.
Texas Tech. Yeah, that's a gauntlet, man. That's
Yep.
tough. But my point is, I'm looking for West Virginia to progress each week, get better each week, and that's all you can do these next 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And get to the off season, get into the portal, get into the high school recruiting, and you start to put pieces together the way you need them, and then you let the chips fall as they may. And again, when the dust clears, I'm sure we'll be proud of the product that's on the field moving forward.
Yeah, and hopefully this is an indication of what's to come down in these final 4 games. I know it's a very, very tough schedule, and maybe we could throw out Texas Tech because that's just a whole different beast. But hey, you never know. But at least in the majority of these last 4 games, what you want to see is more of what you saw tonight: competitive football. You're playing to the end of the whistle, playing 4 quarters, And if you do that and you're losing, by 10 or 14 or 7, I think fans are going to feel a lot better going to the offseason than if they continue to see, 20 or 30 point losses down the stretch and this was just maybe an anomaly. So hopefully that's not the case. You always hear the saying from coaches, you lose big, then you lose close, then you win close, then you win big. Hopefully they're starting to merge into that second phase of losing close, maybe winning some games close as well. So look here at the road ahead for West Virginia. Only 4 games remaining. Next week they'll head to Houston. Kickoff is TBD. They'll announce that probably in the next 24 hours or so. And then they'll come back home for the Colorado Buffs, go back out on the road to Arizona State, and wrap up the season here in Morgantown against Texas Tech. So that's going to do it for us here tonight on the Mountaineer Postgame Show. I'm Schuyler Callihan. That's Eugene Napoleon. Thank you guys for watching. As always, hit that like and subscribe button here on our YouTube page at West Virginia on SI. Again, your final score, TCU 23, West Virginia 17. And I'll be back bright and early tomorrow on Between Eers.